Welcome home, cheater. So this is gonna be our early access server taking a look into the latest upcoming Calamity boss, which we're gonna be seeing in version 3.8. I'm just gonna call bro Evil Firefly, right? So if you can take a look into the design, he is gonna be part of the Swarm family over here, same as True Sting, your Scarab Babs, we're gonna see for APOC Shadows, and this is gonna be what bro is gonna be looking at right here. I would say that generally speaking, the designs look very big, right? God damn, right? Very hard coat of exterior. Again, a little bit of them insect wings over there, right? Got on the stingers, right? Looking down, I can show you guys a little bit more of the bigger model for one of the B-rolls, but generally speaking, this is gonna be like pretty much the same Firefly model, but the angry, dark, evil version. Basically, propagation and swarm inspired. You can see from the wings as well as the stingers. Very dark color grading, a little bit similar to True Sting, right? They almost have the exact same color grading itself over here. It also looks a little bit like the bio armor, like Doom or like Evil Ultraman. If you guys have seen the Ultraman series before, and yes, he is absolutely massive. We're gonna be seeing him in battle later on. Even Phylon just stands right at his yeah, you know, jumping straight into exactly what Calamity boss is going to be doing for the combat. I would say that for first things first, the buff itself, Breached Nest, it is actually a pretty neutral buff, a little bit similar to our current Monkey Business boss, Memory of Chaos, but it definitely favors your skill point consumption teams, which we currently only have Archer that can consistently clear exceptionally well, instead of, let's just say, like E2 Dale or like QQ themselves, right? So this does stack up to 15 hits of true damage, very similar to the Monkey Business, but for Monkey Business, it is based on attacking the right weakness with the additional hit for actually breaking the target itself. So the MOC buff, it can deal a considerable amount of damage over time, so most teams should be able to still clear this relatively consistently as long as you're going to be spending your skill points. And keep in mind, this is going to be when allied targets use skill or consume. It doesn't have to use your skill points to attack. Anyone that uses skill points can essentially gain this benefit, right? And also, yes, this also kind of signifies to me, because by the time this MOC rotation comes out, which is going to be 6 weeks after the current one, it is going to be around actually closer towards the end of version 3.8, going into what we're going to be expecting for version 4, and it's going to be for skill points. So we'll see where that is going to be going, right? So regarding the Evil Firefly herself, it is going to be a single phase boss, just like what we're going to be seeing for Cocolia, as well as like it was at Japart. Raw 200 toughness bar and no damage reduction mechanics such as Flame Weaver as well as Judge of Oblivion. But for this Evil Firefly, the main mechanic is to enter the enhancement state, which you can then summon 4 bucks, and you choose one of your units to take a turn, but all other units cannot deal any crit at all, right? There's no crit whatsoever. So this is the portion where most of you are probably wondering how this mechanic is going to be working. So only a single unit, which is the unit that you have chosen, can do the crit damage, which will ignore the enhancement tree effect. So the rest of the team, especially for your, like your dual DPS, things like Remembrance, Dahlia, and next up, the other party member that does not have this selection is going to be dealing substantially lower damage, because it's really straight up just cannot crit, right? And we all know what the damage is going to be looking like if you can't crit, right? So this is also going to be the main shield mechanic for break teams, since they completely bypass crit, and the selected target also actually gains a break effect boost. During this state, he also has this move that gives his summons to 4 different bucks a speed buff, which ties into the ultimate later on. So in order to dispel this enhancement state, you essentially need to kill all 4 bucks, which will then make them instantly break the Evil Firefly. Whether or not he's gonna be having 1, 2, 10, 200 toughness bar, he will instantly be weakness broken, right? So taking a look into the screenshots over here, similar to True Sting, killing the bugs will apply vulnerability per kill, meaning once you clear all 4 bugs, it's going to be 4 sets of vulnerability. And on top of that, he also gains an additional 50% vulnerability once you get into this state over here, right? And this unremovable damage increase is going to be like 50%. So at grand total, you're going to be having a 90% built-in vulnerability, making this fight a lot more manageable once you actually can kill all the bugs and get him into this state over here. Now, the key thing to note is if you cannot kill the 4 bugs or delay his actions by breaking him directly, he will get his charge stacks, which is obtained from the bugs attacking, and once it hits 5 out high, you can see that he actually has this portion of raid health, very similar to the Flame Weaver corrosion mechanic, where he will recover the raid health and activate his ultimate at 5 out of 5 stacks, right? So this is where I'm not too sure how high this damage actually be, because I tested this out with Phylon, and Phylon was the only one that actually made me see this ultimate. The damage was actually not that crazy. So after you get through this phase, you either break him, in which he will then recover, but you still need to kill all of the True Sting, the low summons, or once he's going to be Witness Broken, everything is going to be dispelled, the attack pattern will repeat all over again. So that is essentially how the fight is going to be going. I feel like generally speaking for this boss itself, it is very manageable even for non-break teams. For example, like Fire and Archer, because they are essentially not really promoting anti-crit, but they are promoting anti-multi-team DPS, or rather multiple dual DPS, triple DPS setup, a little bit similar to how Remembrance is going to be like. So if you're still going to be running a hyper carry DPS like Final and Archer, you still should be clearing at a very acceptable pace, although the main mechanic or the main team up definitely is going to be the break team over here. And now those who want to point out, because of this buff, which is going to be, you know, skill point consumption, I wouldn't be too surprised if like the upcoming version 4 is going to introduce a DPS that can also make use of this similar boss mechanics, because one rotation for MOC actually does if it lasts for 6 years. So take it as you will when we go into the future. So that's pretty much it for his boss mechanics itself. The team comp, I would say you can try out a break team. So for both Boothill, Firefly, Reba, all of them can essentially try them out yourself. Because Boothill, you can actually get a pocket choose of summoning the summons. For Reba, it's going to be 5 targets, so she's going to be in the AoE charge. And then Firefly is just going to be Firefly, so that's pretty much it. Other than that, your 2 crit DPS, you can in fact try running your Final as well as Archer. Although I'm sure we can try all the other crit DPSs when he actually comes to life. So I can try Dahlia, Nexa main DPS, all the kind of things. We'll see how it's going to be. So your multi DPS team like Herda and Nexa as well as Tribi, Cyrene, Remembrance Flagship, all of them will probably face a little bit more issue because only a single unit can deal the crit damage. So true hyper carries with support will still be fine over here. Hence Final and Archer, and maybe even my wife Facial, because Facial, she doesn't really care if Cyber itself does damage, and Tribi can actually just go for the 4-piece Eagle. So it is still going to be hyper carry Facial dealing the damage all the way, but clearing the mobs is going to be a little bit more questionable, right? So we're just going to see what version 4 brings to the table, but we are just going to be jumping in right now for a live demonstration on how this clear is going to look like. I'm just going to be going ahead with the Archer clear, and we're just coming back in a little bit. The team we're going to be using is essentially going to be E1 as one Archer, E2 Margot running the Sunny Ninja Light Cone. This is going to be E0 as one DHPD, as well as a E0 as one card over here. Okay, so the fight for the first half is actually relatively straightforward that you would kind of expect from any sort of wave 1. So this is going to be the guy that does the counter. So you're just going to hit him, and then we're going to get a little bit of counter, all the kind of stuff. So we are just going to continuously apply all of our debuffs, right? We're going to aim for the same target. So Archer, we're going to save this skill point a little bit, then we're just going to let this one rip over here. And yes, we are just going to be doing this with a sustain run, or rather, yeah, we're not going to be doing this with Savidra, so we're kind of just rip this off. We are definitely going to not clear this in 0 cycle. I don't believe we can, so we're just going to let this take a little bit of damage over here, start charging up our Cypher Meow Meow charge over here. Gets us a little bit of a stack. We do have a lot of skill points remaining, which is very good. So this part is where we can actually activate our ultimate. Gets us one of our Archer's follow-up attack. He is almost going to die. Okay, this is gonna be fine. Whether or not he summons the goons over here is not gonna be too important. The DOD is definitely gonna be a little bit more annoying. I'm just gonna go ahead with the basic attack, because this will then give me more skill points, and we also gain more energy from him hitting us with a follow-up. And because we are going to be running DHPD, is really not too big of an issue when it comes to a sustain over here, right? So we're just going to continuously go for our basic attack, get to 9 skill points. Sparkle doesn't need to cast a skill over there, so this is going to be okay. And then we are just going to get off the 9 skill point over here. So that's number 1. He's going to go down, and then we're just going to send everything onto this guy, right? We're going to send everything onto this guy. I don't think we are going to be getting the 0 cycle wave 1, because the mobs are just inherently that tanky. So we are just going to take it slow and build this up onto our wave 2 over here, right? So this is going to come down. Okay, actually, you know what? Let's just limit test, right? If this, okay, this definitely probably won't kill, but let's just limit test, and we'll see where this goes. Cypher goes for the 6, 7, 8, and then we are just gonna slam this down right here. Okay, he is gonna activate the advance. Okay, definitely not quite enough for the 0 cycle, unfortunately, so it is what it is. Okay, at this point, because like I mentioned, the MOC debuff does do a substantial amount of damage, we definitely want to try to make use of that to give you a little bit more value. So we're just gonna save up our stacks, because once his turn begins, he's gonna take another DOT from the damage that he received, because he has built-in devs stuns. So we can just keep building on our skill points, building up our energy, and if he dies here, great. If he doesn't, then we get a little bit more. Alright, he's done here, right? So that's gonna be fine. We don't really need to cast on our Sparkle skill point immediately because he will give us the free skill points at the start of battle, right? So right now, we are just gonna select onto Archer. Archer gains the immediate turn. So this is the part where, a little bit unfortunately, that your Cypher is not gonna be able to give you these patron stacks because you need to change your patron, right? So because of this, we are not gonna be generating these stacks at a very, very efficient pace because this is not the main target, but I do need to at least let go of all my skill points so that later on when we cast off our Sparkle Ultimate, we can get the highest possible amount of value, right? So we're gonna just do this. We do get off one of the bugs down, which is going to be relatively quickly. And then this is going to be going down over here. Dragon is going to go down. We are going to let Cypher intentionally pivot away so that we can do it a little bit more charge. And then we are going to be able to activate our Sparkle Ultimate, which will then bring me back up a little bit more. And because this is going to be Sunday as well, we actually get back that one skill point, and it is not going to be done with a DDD over here, right? So we are just going to do this over here. I am going to let go of my Archer Ultimate immediately. And I don't even think this will kill. 700k. Yep, that actually did not kill. So I kind of air what I air. He is almost dead. So this is just nice because my first skill is always going to be the lowest amount of damage. But the unfortunate thing is because we do not have enough for the full-out attack, it is going to be really, really inefficient. So I'm actually just going to go for the basic. And once card pivots the patron stack with this, I'm pretty sure this thing is gonna die. So we shouldn't face that big of an issue. Alright. Follow-up attack. Follow-up attack. Very, very good. We are gonna bring this up a little bit more. And hopefully DHPD's ultimate can actually get rid of the other bug over there, which can then apply that stack of vulnerability. Okay, unfortunately, it's not gonna be dealing too big enough over here. We can just chill a little because I don't really want to waste a skill point. He does go Boothill Explode over here, which is gonna be very nice. So we just take on a little bit more charge. And then at this point, we can kind of just let it go, right? So first we out. And then we are gonna activate our Sparkle Ultimate. We kind of have to let go of this over here because otherwise the patron stack is not going to go, which is going to be a little bit wasteful. So we get a little bit more stacks. So this will definitely kill the other bug. Then we get back a little bit more skill points and then we can kind of just slam all in. So this is the part where you're going to see he has 40% vulnerability from the 4 bugs as well as the 50% vulnerability because we essentially dispelled his state, right? So we're going to let this go. Gets in a ultimate right here. So once we do get in this ultimate, we can technically try to squeeze out for a little bit more damage in the future once we can stack on our Cypher. Alright, so 2.3 million damage from this is going to be very, very nice. I would say that me casting this right now is not going to be too useful because he's going to be Witness Broken for a very, very long time. 121 action ready to go to the next wave. So we can technically just stack on our charge because I do need a little bit more of the skill points so that my Archer can kind of come back in a little bit later on, right? So we're just going to continue to do our basic. Continuously do this over here, and then we can let this go. I don't think we're gonna be getting enough for our Sparkle Ultimate here, unfortunately. So we're just gonna do the absolute best that we can. So this is gonna go in. Alright. We are not gonna be able to get our ultimate, so we're just gonna let this go over here. This thing is gonna come down. Let's see if essentially Sparkle can actually get us the kill, right? Or rather Cypher. Both of them are not gonna be in turn, so we're just gonna try to give Sparkle a little bit more damage. If it's not gonna be enough, we clear in 2. If it is enough, then we clear it in a 3, right? So let's just bring up Cypher. We'll limit that just a little bit more, because otherwise we can't get a turn anyways. So this is just gonna go for the Saki, and then we'll just try to see if this ultimate will be sufficient to bring him down at 26 HP, right? So let's go of the Cypher. 8%. So basically a Western 2-cycle dispatch, if I can say so myself. That is going to be done running that previous setup. So the gears can be seen over here, and that is going to be essentially our, our E1 as one Archer, right, with the 4-piece Quantum. This is going to be E0 as one car. And then this is going to be our Sparkle with the Sunday Signature Lycon plus E2. If I say you do not have the E2 as well as the E1 Archer, honestly, is like kind of the most important item for Pro. If you don't have E2 Sparkle, it's kind of fine. So at most you probably just take it out into a, not a Western 2 cycle, but a definitive 3 cycle, maybe going to 4. But I would say that this team definitely has the capabilities of clearing this relatively exceptionally, even if you're not going to be running Break. Right now, this is going to be for a crit DPS. Then I'll show you guys another run where I do a break DPS. Not going to use E2 Firefly just to see how this is going to be going. Alright, welcome back. So this one we're going to try it because I already tried Firefly. I show you guys the rare buff footage in the B-rolls. I'm just going to go ahead and try out with the Sustainless Boothill, and we'll see how this is going to be going, essentially completing all 3 super DPS against this particular evil Firefly fight itself, right? So like I mentioned, this fight, generally speaking, is not going to be super scary. They are all going to be weak to physical. I will say that this guy is going to be the more Mongoose part, because if he's going to do a lot of counter attacks, you're definitely going to be facing a little bit more of a sustained problem. So I kind of want to break these guys as fast as possible. Okay, we can in fact get us the ultimate right here, since we are going to be able to get the value. Okay, unfortunately, this guy is not way too imaginary, but Boothill will definitely break bro over there, which is going to be very nice. So let's get the DDD action value advanced first. Okay. Holy, that is quite a bit of damage. Eto. Okay, we break bro anyways, so I guess it's gonna be technically fine. But I am a little bit concerned. Okay. We are just gonna get off the break over here. So we are first do this. Gets off the Fugue ultimate to get us a charge. Okay, that's really good. Then we are going to do this. Bro, get off our Boothill ultimate, which will then get me another charge. Okay, so now we're gonna be at 3 stacks. So essentially, I need to make sure that they are going to be dying, because if this goldfish goes, we are gonna be in a bit of a pickle. But luckily for us, Dahlia can in fact get us the witness break, so it shouldn't be that big of a problem for us over here. So let's just break this fish so that he doesn't kill us right here in this spot. These 2 goldfish are the only ones that's gonna be a bit of a problem, so we are just gonna aim for this, and then hopefully we essentially get off the kill right here. 429. He's gonna get action very advanced, but because we do get ourselves a little bit of a DDD stack going on, I am pretty sure the amount of break DOT, he is just going to die. So let's just go ahead and see if we can aim on the other guy and get us the 0 cycle. So this does in fact die, which is gonna be very good. Fugue, we're just gonna be going for our basic attack over here, conserve a little bit of skill points, and then Boothill is gonna be getting us the very simple 0 cycle right here. I want to immediately activate our ultimate right now. Right, we're gonna immediately activate our ultimate right now, push bro back, because if he is gonna aim, like we're gonna be giving into Boothill value, I might just squeeze this out a little bit more and try to stall this as much as I can, because Boothill himself, he can't really deal with the clones as easily, right? He actually needs to go ahead and just kill this guy as fast as possible. So we'll see if we can basically brute force our way through before bro even summons any of his endgame bombs up in there. We are just gonna be able to do this. Okay, HMC, we are gonna be getting off our witness break. Okay, Fugue is gonna buff us up over here first. Get off 1 DDD, pushing my Boothill up a little bit higher. Okay, then Boothill, we're gonna continuously do our things. Okay, 1.6 going to follow. We should honestly just let go of the Dahlia's ultimate there, because we could have gotten a little bit more energy. There's no point holding Dahlia's ultimate, so we can always just go ahead and do this. Goes for the basic attack. Fugue goes for the basic attack, and then Boothill is gonna be going for this basic attack again. Very good. So one important thing to note is that wow, wait, we are actually very close to a 0 cycle, because we essentially bypassed it. Because this is my first time playing Boothill against him, because I already tried with Rapper and Firefly. Yeah, we are really dealing so much damage. If we actually made our Boothill get this ultimate, because we are running Boothill with Eagle 4-piece, if that Eagle 4-piece allows me to get back here and I get off a DDD, I could theoretically get off the ultimate. Like if I just went for the Fugue skill instead of Fugue basic, I could have actually gotten myself a potential 0 cycle. which is really, really interesting, right? I'm not sure if you guys get what I'm saying. I'm not gonna redo anymore because the run is basically really cool. Boothill was also very, very low. We essentially took 0 damage from Calamity boss. Just be sure just now, if I use my Fugue skill, cast a DDT because it's gonna be E2 Fugue, because this is 2 action value. 20, it might not have been enough actually. You know what? Worry for next time. Let the MOC buff goes in. Alright, 3 HP remaining, gets us the basic Umbro, and then Boothill, hell yeah brother, will then get us a very, very close to home 0 cycle. This is E0 Boothill, and we managed to get this 0 cycle on E2 5 light. I think this was actually very, very nice, and that was my literal first try. I literally have not seen this guy Boothill at all, but I was pleasantly surprised. So this fight for Boothill, I would say it kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Adventuring boss from last MOC, where you completely ignore his dice mechanics and you just straight up kill him on the spot before he even summons any of the bugs. And this is dual because bro actually does not have any damage reduction, like I said at the start of the video. So if you do have enough raw damage to immediately kill him and delay him of ever touching your team, I think that can definitely be done. So for Boothill mains, if you have like an E1 Boothill, if you want to get yourself the vertical investments, maybe you run an E1 Rame over here, right? With E1 Rame, I think a 0 cycle with this could be extremely doable. And with that, I would say we are finally gonna be coming to the end of today's content, featuring the first look at the Calamity boss, Evil Firefly. Let me know what you guys think in the thoughts in the comments below. I am pretty looking forward to see how this is gonna be, because it's not really just for break, because crit DPS can definitely work as well. On top of that, we are going to be getting the skill point. You can see over here, Breach Nest, we are going to be getting the skill point shield buff. So I really do wonder, I don't believe a MOC environment is going to be built for old units. So whoever that first unit in version 4 is going to be, either break or skill point, probably a DPS. We'll see how that's going to go here. So I'll wrap it up here. Word of the day is going to be, welcome home, cheater. Join Twitch, join Discord, join Twitter. Use code PRO7 of Team Subs. All the best. But gadget and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.